So, welcome back. This is our number 4 drawing techniques video, number 4, last one for this book. However, keep in mind you need to make 3 more drawings of your own choice to fill out the rest of the book. So, here's what my cover looks like. It just says Drawing Techniques by Mrs. McD. Yours should also say the name of your class, since I have 5 classes. It'd be really helpful. So, again, we had simple shapes, value shading, line contour. Okay, now this one, proportion. This one's the most, it's probably the most like intense skill level, but it's really, really important because a lot of times when you're drawing, what's happening is things are the wrong size in relationship to the other parts. I see lots of drawings of, say, like a coffee mug where the mug looks okay, but then the handle's like tiny, right? So proportion means what size something is in comparison to another part of that object or another object. You know, if you took a picture of a very, very small person in front of a tree, that tree might look really, really big. But then if you put a very large person next to that tree, a very tall person, the tree would look smaller, right? It's because everything is relational. So I'm choosing a really super small object to draw so that you guys can actually see it in this frame. The object you're drawing could be really large because using this technique, we're not necessarily making the object look exactly the same size as it is in reality. We're just trying to keep the parts of it in proportion so it looks realistic, okay? So I'm going to start with this. This is really important. This is complicated because this bottle right here, when your eyes see this, when your brain thinks it, you think it's really, really small. This part seems really, really small. And for most people, when they draw it, this part's going to be too small. But it's not really that much smaller than the rest of the bottle. The same thing happens with people's heads, arms, and legs. Your legs are absolutely enormous compared to the rest of your body. In terms of length, it's really intense. We're going to have a little figure drawing lesson later on in the semester. Okay, so let's start with this. If I hold this up to here, this is what we call sighting. When you use an object like a pencil, whatever you got, you know, Sharpie, to determine length. So in this case, if I hold this up to here, you can see it comes about right there, right? That's about the length of this part of the bottle. But when I hold this up over here, the length of this part is more like down here by past the 2H, right? So I'm going to try doing it that way. I'm going to say this seems to me about half, maybe. About half the length of this, right? So let's start down here. By the way, with a bottle like this, if you think about it, it doesn't have square edges. It has rounded edges. You want to always think about that when you're drawing something that's cylindrical. The bottom is actually curving up here and here, right? So let me start with always lightly, right? And always drawing using simple shapes. I think a lot of people are inclined to get out a ruler and try to make things really, really straight, but you'll find that's just not as important. It's not as important as drawing as in proportion and getting the details right. So the top of this bottle, let's look at that. It's definitely rounded. Oh, and then there's symmetry, right? Oof. Making things look exactly the same on both sides is not easy. So draw lightly. Always draw lightly so that you can erase. Now there's a little bit of a transitional piece here. But we said that this right here, if that's going to be my measurement here, and remember, I'm actually drawing this bigger than the real life one is. But the proportion, sorry, my kid's friend actually called her and it showed up on my phone and cut the video off. So let's continue. All right. So I said this, and I said the top was about half that. So I'm going to say the top should be about right here in length. I'm going to make a little line. I mean, this isn't math. So the video cut off again. I don't know, whatever. So here's my finished drawing. So I wanted to show you. You can have the lines be kind of sketchy. You can erase stuff. You can make the lines darker if you want to. I didn't do much detail on the label. That's not really part of this, you know, assignment anyway. What we're trying to do is proportion. And don't forget, some cylindrical objects like this, a cylinder from the side like this is, you're going to need to make this line curved right here and curved right here. A lot of you guys are going to probably draw cylindrical objects, so keep that in mind. It's not straight across. It's actually a little bit curved, And then, of course, this is a little bit curved, right? Even though it seems really straight across, because it's bent by this, the cylinder shape, it becomes a little bit rounded right here. And then also just check in your proportions. So my bottle, and you can see I actually made this bigger than the real bottle, which is totally fine. You can make the object smaller or bigger. It's about proportion. So I've got about this much here. And when I move this up to the top, I am guessing that this top is about half of what this is. And then I kind of try to keep with that idea up here. Okay, so proportion is your 4th drawing techniques demo. The rest of the pages, you should have at least 3 more pages, maybe 4. If you put a cover on it, you'll have 4. I want you to do 1, 2, 3 drawings of your choice. I would strongly recommend that you practice at least 1 or 2 of these techniques somewhere in your choice drawings. But mostly, I would just love to see you draw something on your own. This is like a little tiny sketchbook. And then, of course, take pictures of it and turn it in your journal. Okay, have fun.